take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Seriously. It did cause a bit of a ruffle, gave a proper notice, plenty of time.
They called him the king of custom cars. The guy who could turn scrap metal into rolling art. Millions watched Ian Roussel build impossible machines on full custom garage episode after episode, year after year. But what viewers didn't see was the price he paid for that success. The collapse that almost ended everything. The personal loss that broke him on camera, the health crisis that forced impossible choices, and the moment when walking away from his own show became the only way to survive. This is the real story of Ian Roussel, not the TV version. The truth at the unexpected breakdown. Let's start with something they didn't show you on Full Custom Garage. Ian Roussel flat on his back in the Mojave Desert. Paramedics' camera still rolling. Heat exhaustion in 115-degree temperatures while filming yet another custom build under impossible deadlines. This wasn't some dramatic TV moment. This was real. A 50-something man pushing his body past its limits because the show demanded it, and it happened more than once. Most people discovered Ian through his show. They saw the polished final product. The guy calmly explaining how he transformed a pile of parts into something no one had ever seen before. What they didn't see were the 13-hour filming days, the pressure to make magic happen on camera, the slow realization that success was quietly destroying him. But that collapse, that was just one piece of a much bigger story. Ian Roussel was born on November 19, 1970. In Sunland, California. The hospital paperwork said 11:19 in the morning. But here's where things get strange. When he got his driver's license in 1987, it listed his birth year as 1971. A clerical error blamed on the Silma earthquake that shut down government offices for weeks in 71. His family never forgot the real date, though. Every birthday, they made him a cake shaped like a license plate reading 111,970. Even locals remembered that day because of a rare hailstorm that covered Foothill Boulevard in ice. His mom and newborn Ian had to be driven home in a neighbor's lifted F-100. That weird start led to fan pages arguing about his actual age for years. Ian didn't mind. He joked about it constantly. Every year. I'm either 54 or 55. Keeps me young. His father, Jerry, worked at Lockheed Skunk. Works during the day. At night, their garage became a workshop. Jerry brought home leftover aircraft aluminum. 8-year-old Ian turned it into panels for homemade go-karts. Between 1978 and 85, they spent over 4,200 hours working together. Ian calculated that number by reading his dad's oil stain project logs. By 10, Ian could gap spark plugs and read cam lift tables. Jerry had one rule, though. Build first, drive later. Their biggest early project was a 1955 Chevy Nomad they bought for $75. They spent 32 evenings replacing the floor with bomb sheet metal. That same wagon still sits in Ian's Mojave shop today. A reminder of where everything began. Ian graduated from West Valley High School in '89. Instead of showing up in a cap and gown like everyone else, he parked His half-finished '29 Ford Model A pickup. Right in front of the gym. Raw metal. With bright orange wheels. The principal had told him not to bring it. He didn't care. His GPA was 2.7, but he scored 98 out of 100 on the school's metal fab final, the highest score ever recorded. He only lost 2 points because his report was hand-drawn instead of typed. That car, pieced together from 11 donor vehicles and $612 in parts, was featured in Rod and Custom Magazine's 1990 Young Guns issue. 2 weeks later, Ian turned down a drafting scholarship. His reason: college can't weld. As an only child, there was no one to share tools with, no one to blame when something broke. By 18, he'd logged over 3,100 hours in the garage. Basically, a full-time job's worth over a year and a half. His mom, Donna, kept everything organized in photo binders. Years later, when producers made full custom barrage, those binders became the storyboard for Season 1. Family stories say Jerry once hoped for a second child, but he changed his mind after 5-year-old Ian took apart the family's washer just to figure out the spin cycle. Ian's Christmas gifts weren't toys, they were tools. At 12, a stick welder. At 15, a used English wheel. Those early investments made him the sole keeper of his father's mechanical knowledge. But here's what makes Ian different from other builders. Even before he could drive, he thought of cars as sculpture. At 9, he spent 6 weeks carving a 4-foot replica of a 32 Ford grill out of foam, then covered it in fiberglass just to study the shape. He didn't even care if the car could move. He often forgot to add steering wheels to his mock-ups. In 7th grade art class, he shocked his teacher by submitting a rolling clay model instead of a painting. It had no doors, just a hatch on top. That model won county honors. His dad finally forced him to get a license by threatening to tow away any project Ian couldn't move himself. Even today, Ian says he's just a guy who makes shapes and adds wheels later. But that artistic approach, that's what would eventually catch the attention of people who could change his life. The rise that everyone celebrated after high school, Ian didn't think twice about college. He jumped straight into Southern California's auto scene. While his classmates were picking majors, Ian was learning from legends. Boyd Codington, Chip Fouse, Jesse James. He worked at their shops during the day, built his own cars at night. By 22, his work was showing up at SEMA and the Grand National Roadster Show. The kind of experience no school could teach, and it connected him with people who would shape his career. At just 22, Ian opened his own shop. Most guys in the business were in their 30s or 40s. People didn't expect him to last. But Ian had saved enough from small jobs and show winnings to rent a tiny space. His family helped with basic tools. That head start meant by the time bid collectors started noticing him in the late 90s, he already had years of experience behind him. He didn't advertise, no billboards, no magazine spreads, just a simple promise. I'll build anything. Word got around fast. While other shops turned down Weird requests, Ian said yes. Space age. Bumpers, welding Cadillac parts to Ford. Frames, custom aluminum windshields. Clients came from across the state just to get something no one else would dare make. Soon his shop became a spectacle. People parked outside just to watch builds come together. His happy customers did all the marketing for him, while most builders restored classics to look factory fresh. Ian did the opposite. Cut roofs off, dropped frames low, welded mismatched parts into something entirely new. His cars were strange. Some people loved them, others called them punk rock hot rods. Traditionalists said he was ruining perfectly good cars. Ian didn't care about approval. He wanted to create something original, and that bold attitude is what eventually got him noticed by TV producers and collectors worldwide. Those first few years were brutal, though. He barely made enough to survive. At one point, he was living in the back of the shop, eating ramen, sleeping on a couch next to his tools. Everything changed after a Las Vegas car show in the mid-90s. Ian brought a radical rat rod he'd almost given up on because of budget problems. That one car caught the attention of a documentary crew. Once it aired, collectors started calling. Orders began to stack up. If that moment hadn't happened, his shop might have disappeared like so many others. But it did happen, and it changed everything. In 2005, he and Roussel built a rat rod for a Las Vegas car show. He wasn't sure how the crowd would react. Groups like the Road Zombies and Burbank Choppers didn't always welcome outsiders with strange builds. But instead of being laughed off the lot, Ian's creation became the most talked about car there. That single moment flipped his life upside down. From a metal worker with a torch and a vision to one of the most watched names in custom cars, the whole story was captured in a documentary called Back from the Dead. Overnight, people everywhere started asking who built that car. Right after the Vegas show, something even bigger happened. Ian landed on the Kest report, a list ranking the top 10 custom car builders in the country. Making it onto that list isn't easy. It's based on craftsmanship, creativity, and influence. Most people on it had been building for decades. But there Ian was, right alongside them. Just a few years earlier, hardly anyone in the industry even knew his name. Now his bold choices and rough raw style were setting a new standard. It wasn't just a win. It was proof that the rules could be broken and still earn respect. Soon his builds weren't staying in the US. Cars were getting created and sent from Long Beach to Japan, Germany, the Netherlands. Full-blown international shipments for collectors who'd seen his work on screen and wanted their own piece. Not many solo builders had reached that level. Fewer still did it with no big brand behind them. Then the request started getting wild. Ian always said, if you can dream it, I can build it. And people took that seriously. Clients wanted cars that didn't just look different. They wanted rolling machines that told a story. Some asked for hidden features, movie-inspired twists. Others came with visions so bizarre that other builders had already turned them away. Ian never flinched. He figured out how to make it all real. His garage became a place where the strangest ideas didn't get ignored. They got built. After that, big names came knocking. Musicians, movie stars, producers. Some wanted road cars. Others needed showpieces or props. The funny thing is, most of them didn't want their names out there. That added a strange kind of mystery to his work. But in private, people in the industry started talking. Ian wasn't just building hot rods anymore. He was creating something people in high places wanted but could only get from him. But here's what nobody talks about. While Ian's career was exploding, his personal life was quietly falling apart. The love story built in the desert for 6 years. Ian Roussel and his wife Jamie lived in one of the harshest places on Earth, the Mojave Desert. Summer temperatures often reached 115. Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates just like this.